Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Hughes on the other side of the glass producing today's show. Happy Tuesday to you. Are these cooler temperatures now here, or is this it? Are we officially in the 60s now, or are we going to climb back to the 80s by Thanksgiving? What are we talking about?
I'm hoping they're here. I'm wearing a sweatshirt today, even though I wear sweatshirts all the time.
I wore my jacket today, yeah.
And it feels nice to wear a sweatshirt, and I love wearing sweatshirts, so this is perfect. I'm happy.
You love wearing sweatshirts.
I do.
I will say I also love wearing sweatshirts.
It's one of those little joys in life for myself, Sparky.
Yes.
You know?
No, that's fine. Everybody's got to have their own little victories in life that they have. Coming up on today's show, Erik Kratz. Folks, I had a chance to sit down and interview Erik Kratz earlier today, and it was a lot of fun. He may or may not take shots at Cub fans in this interview, but really good. Former Brewers catcher with Foul Territory TV. He'll join us. We'll play back his interview around 2:35, 2:40 or so coming up today. Also, Jack Stern from BrewerFanatic.com. He's down at Wrigley Field as we get ready for Brewers and Cubs. So he'll join us at 3:20. Plus, also, we'll hear from maybe some Pat Murphy coming up today, some Quinn Priester. That'll be coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. They're talking down at Wrigley Field as well. So lots to get to on today's show. And, of course, we have got to celebrate. And I will start where I know y'all want me to start at. Start right where y'all want me to start. I know what y'all want. I know why y'all tuned in today at 2 o'clock. All right, Sparky. Hey, man. I'm glad I was wrong. All right. I'm glad I was wrong. And then Jackson Chourio did not get hurt again. It did not end horribly. In fact, it ended very nicely.
Chourio with a drive. Center field. Way back there. And gone. A 3-run shot from Jackson Chourio. And the Brewers lead 7-3.
A huge shot there by Jackson Chourio to kind of, at that point, cement the game because the Brewers bullpen was amazing in their bullpen game yesterday. That highlights courtesy of TBS. There are so many things on yesterday's show that you could just hit delete on the entire show and forget it ever happened. We talked about Jackson Chourio. Should he play or shouldn't he play? And it came out when we were doing the topic at 4 o'clock that he was going to play. And I was categorically opposed to it. And when we had Vinny Rottino on earlier in the show yesterday, Vinny Rottino said, yeah, if he plays, he'll probably just be a DH. Okay. Not only did he not DH, he played in the outfield. And I was just mad beyond mad. I was like, man, if this dude gets hurt and misses the rest of the series or longer because they rush him back out there, I am just going to be beside myself. So up he came. Did his thing, hits that 3-run homer, and immediately, as you well could imagine, my phone blew up. People on Twitter, everybody, see, aren't you glad he didn't sit, Sparky? Yes, I'm glad he didn't sit. I said yesterday I'd be happy to be wrong if I was going to be wrong. So I'm happy I was wrong on that. So thank goodness. Hopefully he stays healthy now through Game 3 coming up tomorrow at Wrigley. Speaking of tomorrow, this show will be on the road at Natty Oaks. Coming up tomorrow from 2 to 5 in West Allis. We'll be having this show starting at 2 o'clock. Tommy Wirtz will stop by. He'll do his leadoff show, followed by the Potawatomi Sportsbook from 3 to 4. I'll continue on with this show from 4 to 5 while the Brewers game is going on. Josh Albrecht will be out there watching the game with the fans. We'll have some T-shirts to give away. We'll have some other drop-ins, I think, from fan personalities throughout the afternoon as well. So come hang out with us at the Fan. Watch Game 3. Get some T-shirts and all that good stuff. Plus, we'll have a broadcast going on there starting from 2 until 5. So it should be a fun one. Okay. So the other topic we did yesterday on the show was concerning how would you like to see the Brewers, what would your plan be behind Aaron Ashby as a pitcher? Who are going to be those guys behind Aaron Ashby? Wrong again. That's what that was. There was many things wrong in that whole conversation yesterday. But I will say, what I wanted to happen is exactly what they are doing. I was wrong with who came up behind him. I didn't see Nick Mears. But I had said if it was me, I'd pitch Priester in game 3, come back with Quintana in game 4, and let Peralta pitch 5 or pitch game 1 of the NLCS. That's what I had said yesterday. And that's exactly what's going to happen, which I'm fine with. I was on Twitter yesterday going, I'm fine with this. I have no problems with this whatsoever. I support this. Let's see what happens. So while we were wrong that nobody saw a full bullpen game coming, the next thing that occurred was this dude here ended up on a mound at American Family Field in a nip and tuck game when he entered.
Runner takes off from first. It's grounded right back to Mizorowski. And he'll jog all the way to the bag. Mizorowski fired up. A clean inning.
He was fired up, jumping up and down, carrying on over there. And after that inning, I tweeted out, I was like, hey, man, that's exactly what I wanted. Start a clean inning, nobody on base, and let him try and work through that inning. Now, did I see him pitching 3 scoreless innings? No, I would have been happy with 1. So they run him back out for the second inning, and he starts to settle in a little bit. And then the third inning, same thing. You couldn't have asked for it to go any better for Jacob Mizorowski. And the one thing we talked about with Mizorowski was, again, on this show, that maybe this dude just gets extra locked in when it's big. That first start, no hits, he was locked in. That second start, because he didn't give up no hits in the first one, he was still locked in. It wasn't until that ball hit off his leg that everything changed. Then he went on the IL, sat out Brown, blah, blah, blah. Now he comes back, and now he's just out there pitching. There's no more spotlight on him. And he went back to being what he was. So now you put him in a big moment and go, okay, buddy, playoffs, go do something. Hey, Charlie, he did something.
He definitely went out there and did something. I would say we were completely wrong. Yes, Nick Mears was technically the next guy that came into that game, but he pitched 3 total pitches and 1 out. It was really Jacob Mizorowski that came in next in that game. And I think we were talking about him as a potential option coming in here. And like you had been talking about, he's shown up in the lights, man. Like, this is a moment where he needed to have that energy, that kind of cool-headed style of play that he's had all season, and he went out there and didn't change a thing about his game. Yesterday, we heard Joe Madden, former manager of the Cubs World Series winner, talking about how managers shouldn't go in and change any of their game plans. They need to go in with the same kind of mentality that they had in the regular season. I think that goes for guys like Jacob Mizorowski, guys like Jackson Chourio, where, yes, this is a bigger moment, but you have to stay calm. You have to stay cool, especially when you're a younger player getting one of your first opportunities at this big of a stage.
You know, the other part about this, too, is when we talk about how this looks going forward for the Brewers after that bullpen game, you are set, dog. I mean, you are set because now your second best pitcher, because you have no Woodruff, is Priester. Priester is the guy that has gone deeper into games than anybody else on a consistent basis. Priester is the guy they win all the time this year when he pitches. The question we have is this: what has surprised you the most through the first 2 games of this series? Brewers up 2-0 after a 7-3 win last night. What has surprised you most about this Brewers team through the first 2 games that we've seen here at American Family Field? Nicolay Law Fan Talk, a text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie Usen on the other side of the glass. I will tell you what I think has surprised me most to this point, because this was a guy that I was curious to see what it was going to look like come the postseason. Because as much as I said Chourio has to be a star, if this dude provided some power and some slug as well in the middle of the lineup, that also changes how this lineup looks.
Another payoff. And it's a high fly ball to left field. Happ underneath it in front of the wall. This ball's gone! Andrew Vaughn ties the game with 1 swing.
It's a whole nother level for this Brewers offense if Andrew Vaughn gets hot like he did after they got him. If Andrew Vaughn starts hitting, 300 and starting hitting home runs all over the field, this offense gets to another level, right? Sure, he already is a stud. We know that. But if Andrew Vaughn, now under some pressure, gets going, becomes scary good.
Not only was he getting going in a game like this, but he was laughing around the bases, sticking his tongue out, having fun. When have you ever seen Andrew Vaughn do that since he's gotten to this Milwaukee Brewers team?
Correct.
He's out there just living life, having a good time. Again, kind of going back to what I was saying about Jackson Churio and Jacob Mizorowski. It's about going into these moments, these first-time scenarios for a lot of these players and just having that same mentality that you're playing a game that you have since you were a kid and that you're having fun and that this is your dream to hit a home run in an NLDS versus in the I-94 rivalry and having this crazy great time. It's just awesome to watch. You can hear it in the stadium, too, the fan base behind this team also having fun with this. It's just a really awesome situation that I think guys like Andrew Vaughn are just feeding off of.
And that's exactly right. And the other guy, too, again, we talk about the middle of this order and what it looks like and how they're doing their thing. This is another guy. If he starts bringing the slug, if he starts bringing the power, changes things, too.
Contreras with a drive to left field, and the Brewers have the lead. A no-doubt shot from William Contreras. And Milwaukee leads 4-3.
All right, so that there is another guy with power. Now, I don't think anybody saw these guys hitting 3 home runs in that game yesterday, especially if we're being honest, when the temperature dropped, I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, well, ball's not going to fly as easily out of American Family Field because when that ball starts flying, it's warm, it's humid, it's that type of weather where that ball really kind of takes off. And to this point right now, it didn't matter what the weather was last night. They just got after it and took advantage of it. Nikolay Lawfan, talking text line. What's the one thing that surprised you most so far through the first couple of games of this series? 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Would love to hear from you, especially if y'all want to get in on that text line. We'll read some text as well while we're doing this. I think the one thing that surprised me the most was the fact that he actually went all in and did an actual bullpen game. And you could tell that when they interviewed the trader on TV, the trader was like, I guess they're going with a bullpen game, so we're going to have to do our best to try and find a rhythm here. He also was surprised, Charlie. He also thought, I'm sure, him and his coach is like, okay, this is cute. Then they're going to bring Priester in. Once Priester comes in, we're going to put Bush back into the lineup, and we're going to go. And that is not what they got.
It is not. It's also something that I think the Brewers can use to their advantage moving forward here. Playing against the Phillies or the Dodgers, again, teams that you both dominated during the regular season, are going to have high expectations for you as a club, and they're going to go in trying to overanalyze, overthink things like we've seen Craig Counsell do over the first 2 games here. And you can go in and just say, you know what? I trust everybody in this rotation, everybody in this bullpen. I don't care who I put out there. They're going to pitch well, and these teams will not be able to prepare for it, and we're just going to keep doing our same thing over and over again. It really is the biggest strength of the Milwaukee Brewers that not only in that rotation, not only in that bullpen, not only in that lineup, that all throughout this team, they have the ability for anybody to step up and have a big moment, and you cannot prepare for that.
That's correct. And the other part about this, too, is there were no weak links. Not every team can go with a bullpen game and give up 1 hit after that 3-run homer to Suzuki. And I'm telling you, I was watching with my 9-year-old who, unfortunately, is a Cubs fan, and he was hooting and hollering and screaming and carrying on. And then when Vaughn hit his, he over there. And then because I let him stay up later last night and put him to bed right before the Contreras homer. We had just put him to sleep. Contreras hit the homer. I'm like, I'm not going to go ruin his night. I'll wait till the morning to give him the good news that they're going to lose. But that is something else. Like no weak link. Everybody they brought in. Koenig looked just as good as he did. What will Trevor McGill look like? He looked good. Uribe strikes out the side to end the damn thing. You couldn't have asked for much better. We're giving out these Euchre Magic t-shirts for the fan. Is it being sprinkled over the team again like it was in August? We're going to get on that because you don't need to win 14 straight to win the World Series in this bad boy. You don't have to go 14. You can win it much further, much closer than 14. Do you think the Euchre magic is starting to sprinkle over this Brewers team in the postseason here? Is this maybe going to be that time? Because if we're being honest, that Dodger team scares the bejeebies out of me. If we're being honest, that Dodger team is scary right now. But the Brewers, through 2 games, 16 runs, they're no pushover.
Well, and I would say the Phillies have gotten in their own heads, especially last night. They had a big opportunity to come back in that game and win it.
At the end of that game, I'm waiting for the Brewers game to come on. And they ran that wheel play, and I was like, oh, my goodness, you get that runner out at third. Like that, they should have at least tied that game. There was nobody out. They were down 1 with a runner on second. It was right there.
So the Dodgers aren't that scary. I mean, the Phillies are a very good baseball team. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, this is the best team in baseball in the Milwaukee Brewers, man. I mean, yeah, you can be worried about the Dodgers because they have that postseason success, but honestly, I want the Dodgers. If the Brewers are going to go on and win this series, I want the Dodgers. You want to face that team that's been this villain throughout all of the 2020s so far, and you want to be the team that takes them down in this situation. And I feel very confident in this Brewers team. I don't know if you can say that this is Euchre magic right now, because that insinuates that something crazy is happening right now, that you're getting that Indiana Pacers style run. This is not what this is. This is the Brewers team that we saw for 2 months after the All-Star break. This is the Brewers team that we know is here already.
That was the Euchre magic run, right? That was the Euchre magic run. Yeah, that was what you're talking about.
I mean, this whole season
was the kind of the Euchre magic run.
They've been that good since then. I know they win up 500 in September but at the same time, this is still a very good baseball team we can't just keep saying is magical.
Let me say this, because you are that opinion. I hate that opinion with a passion. And the reason I hate this opinion with a passion is because I dealt with the same opinion back when the Packers went to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. And I kept saying, I'd be like, they're on the magic carpet ride, right? I do this like hand motion magic carpet ride. And everybody gets so mad. It's not magic. They're just really good. Leave it alone. Blah, blah, blah. And like 16, 17 guys on the IL, and dudes that are just picking up off the street, like Green, were coming in and just playing. And it was crazy, right? I mean, we got some crazy run. They had a win to get in. They got in, and then away they went. And people got offensive like it. Like you're getting offended.
I'm not getting offended.
Let me just explain something to you all. Folks, I don't care how much you want to argue with me on this, you're not going to be right. There is luck involved in winning any championship in any sport, with any team, with any coach. There is luck involved. I'll tell you, I'll give you one example. He ain't going to like when I say this. I'm sorry, Leroy. But that year they went and won the Super Bowl. They didn't have to go through Dallas. They got knocked out, and the Panthers came to them, right? So to me, okay, that was your lucky bounce where you didn't have to deal with them anymore, and you got to go through. That was beautiful. Could they have went to Dallas and won that year? Maybe. Don't know. Thank God. I'll never know, because it was not fun playing those guys in Dallas back in the day. So that was their lucky bounce. I just think any team, the Giants, they beat the Patriots. David Tyree, right? Ball on top of helmet. Okay. That was your magic, lucky moment, whatever you want to say. Every team is going to have moments in time where you're going to have something or some things happen. We're like, damn, man, like it's crazy. Do you remember back in August when Cub fans, not you, but Cub fans were on social media? Man, this is the luckiest damn team ever. Every time something bad happens, they take advantage of it, whatever. That's what it was. And that's why there was Euchre magic, because every game they needed something would go wrong for the other team, or they would get a big hit in a big moment, whatever. I don't think that's bad. I don't think that's negative. I think that's sports. And in order to win something big and significant like that, you have to have that type of luck.
But at the same time, yes, I agree with you. You do need those moments of luck where that does help you, propel you. But that's not what we've seen in these first 2 games for this Brewers team. Hasn't been luck in this. It's just been the Brewers are a better baseball team, and they're showing it in almost every facet in these first 2 games of this playoff run right now. I think that magic will come. I think we have seen that magic throughout the season. But to say that this is all because of the magic is a little unfair to the way this Brewers team has taken advantage of issues of these other teams, has been able to not only hit for contact, but hit for power at the same time too, for an entire rotation and bullpen to come out and be effective throughout the entirety of this season. You have to give a lot of props to that as well. And then the coaching staff behind that.
He is Charlie using Sparky Fifer here. I have a text message that came in involving Giannis and his family.
I'm glad.
He's like, what surprised me most is that Giannis's wife and 4 kids have moved to Athens. I'm starting to agree with Shams. Man, we ain't even talking about Shams or Giannis. I'm telling you, forewarning, giving you a heads up. At the 3 o'clock segment, before Jack Stern at 3:20, we are going to talk about the Shams story with Giannis, the Knicks, and everything going on there. Because I'm pretty sure I'm right in what I thought before. I'm almost convinced I'm right. Charlie is now on my bandwagon as well.
In a little bit of a different way. I'm going to share my theory.
Yes, but his source, I think we were right on. I'm pretty sure we were right on his source. But we'll get into that coming up at 3 o'clock. Coming up next, before we play back the Erik Kratz interview from Foul Territory TV, who I had a chance to sit down with earlier. Hilarious interview, really good, had me laughing throughout. We'll play that back about 2:35 or so. I want to talk about last night's performance involving The Miz. When he came into the game, everybody was freaking out on social media. What are we doing? Oh, my God. And again, we should have somebody warming up behind him. I had no problem with that take. No problem. He walks the first 2 guys, you got to go get him, right? You can't let him melt down, so you had to be ready to go get him. So I had no issue with everybody saying have somebody going when he's out there. Fine, I'm with you. But man, oh man, he gets through 1 inning. When they bring him back out for the 2nd inning, everybody's up in arms again. Oh, my goodness, what are we doing? Why is he pitching a 2nd inning for? I can't believe it. That's what was going on social media last night, too. So we're going to talk about all that. Did last night's performance change your mind on how the Brewers should use Miz going forward? Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter. At The Fan Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here.
Runner takes off from first. It's grounded right back to Mizorowski. And he'll jog all the way to the bag. Mizorowski fired up. A clean inning.
Yeah, I think it was just that exactly. I was so fired up and, adrenaline pumping. Didn't really know where my feet were, but, we landed. So it was fun. It's a lot of fun.
Joe?
Controlling that? I don't know. Do you?
I mean, you got to let him express himself, but then you got to watch and see if he comes back to where he needs to be. It's hard. It's like I came off the mound in the second inning and he was ranting and raving, and I gave him a little like, okay, stay with it. But he's here at the highest level for a reason, and he's been through some ups and downs. So I think he's pretty aware and pretty on high alert.
There you go. Highlights courtesy of TBS. Plus, you heard from Miz after the game. You heard from our guy Pat Murphy after the game as well, all talking about his excitement level. This isn't something new, man. This is who this dude is. And I don't worry about it as much necessarily because I think either this is going to continue throughout his entire career or as he gets older and plays more, it will start to lessen kind of maybe moving forward. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie using the other side of the glass. Erik Kratz, former Brewers catcher, Foul Territory TV, joins us coming up here in a few minutes. But did last night's performance change your mind on how the Brewers should use Miz going forward? A lot of y'all were a bunch of nervous Nellies about how good the Miz would be in a playoffs. Some suggested maybe they don't even have him on the playoff roster because he hasn't been playing so well. Well, that looked pretty good to me. So now it becomes, how are you going to use him? Because I got some breaking news for you. In the NLCS, you can use 4. You can use 4 starting pitchers. You only have 3. And when it was suggested about Brandon Woodruff last week about the NLCS, Murphy kind of laughed and said, that might still be too early for him to be back. Kind of insinuating that if Woodruff were to pitch, it would be in the World Series, but they would have to make a deep run. So if you're going to use 4 pitchers, because again, the format of this is 2 at American Family Field, 3 on the road to LA or Philly, and then home for 2 if you need 6 and 7 to come back at Milwaukee. That's the format. 2-3-2. I don't know if they would go to Mizorowski as that 4th starter or not. But I'm telling you right now, if they use him again before this series is over and he does something similar, I think there's going to be conversation, Charlie.
I think you have to have the conversation. I don't know. Going into the playoffs, I think I was the exact opposite of everybody. I think I said that he should be the game 3 starter in a situation like this, or a game 5 starter if it was the end of the series, just because he gives you that kind of unknown factor. And we saw that unknown factor last night. You saw that his energy and how he feeds again off of the crowd and the rest of his team performing to that level. It just gets him fired up and makes his performance look so much more impressive in moments like that. And I think that you can continue to use that moving forward. Now, I don't know if that's fully in that starter role after watching what we saw yesterday. I think yesterday he got confidence from the fact that he got to see his bats go crazy before him, that he saw an Aaron Ashby go out there and, struggle a little bit early, but cool off later on. Nick Mears go out there and shut down one batter. It all helps that it gives him that type of energy moving forward here that I think he could really use as a young player. And I don't know if putting him to start in a game like that, especially a game at home, maybe a game away where, again, you can see your bats get going first, but not a game at home, I wouldn't start.
I think if it's me, I like the idea of him doing how they did it last night. If they're going to let him come out of the pen and start an inning, I'm all in if that's the plan for the rest of the postseason. If the plan for the postseason is in the NLCS, we're going to do a bullpen game in there, and we're not going to have a 4th starter like they did yesterday, I'm fine with that plan too. I don't know if I want to get into him back into the rotation as a 4th starter. I think I'm scared off by that a little bit in case it goes sideways. Because if there is a World Series in the Brewers' future, and I have no idea if there will be a World Series in their future or not, but if there is, you want him to be at the top of his confidence level. That's where you want him to be, right? You don't want to be guessing as to whether or not what Miz you're going to get coming out. Right now, Miz is at peak level of confidence. We need to keep Miz at peak level of confidence to get the most out of the Miz. And anytime you're dealing with an emotional person, see myself, This is how you have to deal with it. You want to keep those guys up, and you have to avoid them being in too deep of valleys, Charlie, when you're dealing with emotional people.
And again, you do that by letting him see the rest of the team get going, get fired up.
Yep.
It really helped yesterday that he got to see an Andrew Vaughn tie the game immediately after they lost the lead in the first inning. It helps when you get to see a William Contreras get as hyped up as he does, where you see other young players like Jackson Churio get fired up as he did. It really does help this team feed off one another. That power of friendship is real for this squad, and when one guy's feeling good, the rest of the guys are going to feel good too.
This said it after the game. What's the secret? We're all friends. We're all friends. We all hang out. We're all good. That is a big deal. I'm friends with those guys over the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hey, you want to hit up the Potawatomi Sportsbook before a postseason game? Need a ride to the game? Hit 2 balls with 1 bat by hitching a ride on a Potawatomi game day shuttle. Make any purchase in the sportsbook or same-day sports bet to get a wristband and seat on the shuttle. Shuttles begin approximately 2 hours before the first pitch. Return shuttles run nonstop for 1 hour after the game. For more info, just visit Potawatomi.com. Bet above the rest. And I'm telling you right now, that Potawatomi Sportsbook Kitchen is on fire. You got the John Kuhn platter you can get maybe, right? 48 different beers on tap, dozen different specialty cocktails. I am a big fan of their bison chili that I had the last time I was there for Monday Night Football. Love the bison chili. So you got all day brunch. Everything there is delicious. You can pregame a little bit, then hop on the shuttle, go when you come back. If it's an afternoon game, maybe have dinner at one of their fine dining restaurants or have dinner at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet maybe on the crew to win before you head out and cash that winning ticket in when you get back. All are possibilities for you. So again, get down that Potawatomi shuttle, game day shuttle. More information, go to visitpotawatomi.com. Bet above the rest. Up next, Erik Kratz, Foul Territory TV and former Brewers catcher. I had a chance to sit down and talk with him earlier. You are not going to want to miss this one. That's straight ahead on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's here on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM. The Fancy Sparky Fifer with you, celebrating the Brewers being up 2-0 on the Chicago Cubs here on a beautiful afternoon. Being joined now on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. He is Erik Kratz. Of course, you can check him out, AJ Perzinski on Foul Territory TV, and of course, former Brewers catcher. Erik, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
I am super excited. We were trying to get this done last week, and we just couldn't make it work. So I was like, well, let's just wait till after game 2 and see what happens. I'll be honest, man. After they scored 9 runs in game 1, the Brewers, I was like, if they get 4 to 5, that should still be good enough to win most playoff games. I did not anticipate 3 home runs and 7 runs being put on the board by the Brewers last night in game 2.
I don't think anybody anticipated it. I didn't anticipate the Brewers going with a bullpen game with the best record in baseball, the second game after they had 5-day layoff. I'm like, this is like, I'll buy some oceanfront property in Arizona from Pat Murphy and the front office right now.
It is pretty wild. We were doing on our shows yesterday across all of our shows on the station as far as, okay, what's your plan behind Ashby? Like, who's coming in? And a majority of people are like, it's got to be Priester. I don't know how it's not Priester at this point. And yesterday afternoon on this show, I was like, but wait a second. I mean, if you really think Priester is your best option as far as going deep into games, which he has been for a majority of the season, wouldn't Priester make more sense in game 3, Quintana game 4, and then that sets you up for Peralta either game 5 or game 1 of the NLCS next Monday? And everybody's like, no, we don't want to do that. We want to give Priester an opportunity to pitch game 5, so that's why he's got to pitch in game 2. But obviously, they didn't see that way. It feels like they were hoping if that works last night, that they go for the knockout punch with Priester in game 3.
Man, I'm so leery of any decision of any team that ever is like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to save this guy, or we're going to go to the next round. Like in the wild card series, we're not going to throw one of our 2 best so that if game 3 doesn't happen, we can throw that pitcher in game 1. No, because there's a chance game 3 doesn't happen. Like we talked about on the show the other day, like the bye round where you don't play in the first round is so huge because people are like, the layoff seems like it's really hurting this team or that team. 100% of the teams that lose in the first round, the wild card round, are out. That's the number that I care about. You don't ever want to put yourself in a chance to get knocked out. And when you get a bye, you get a chance to get yourself right through to the second round, because there is no way you're getting knocked out. And to me, saving your best guy, if you thought Quinn Priester was your best guy because they win every single time he pitches, then you go with that. You go with that person in game 1 if that's your case. Obviously, Freddie P's the guy. But after Freddie P, Quinn Priester, I really thought you start him. I didn't agree with the idea of it. And then they went to the Miz, who I really didn't agree with, especially the way he's pitching, especially the way that he's, it just seems like he's real high and he's real low and he's real high and he's real low. And it's like, is this the best environment for him? And they brought him in a 1-run game, and then Churio's like, you know what I'll do? I'll just hit another dinger and put us up by 4 now. You're like, okay, every button they're hitting is working right now.
It's funny you bring that up, Erik Kratz, because we have been talking about Mizorowski in that playoff roster. And I've continuously said, look, I want him on the playoff roster. I wanted them to pitch him out of the bullpen much earlier than they did in September if this was going to be the plan going in, and they didn't do it. So my thing was I wanted to start an inning and let him work from clean bases and let him go forward and see what happens. The other thing I brought up yesterday was, and I don't know if it's true or not, but when he got called up with all the pressure and his adrenaline flowing, he pitched so well those first couple of games. Then he got hurt on that comebacker and wasn't the same after that. I'm like, I just wonder if there's not something to this guy in big situations coming up big where that adrenaline just gets him going. And in that situation yesterday, you could tell that first inning he pitched, was a little bit of a struggle for him. And then the emotions that came out of him when he ran to first base and he didn't want to throw it to Vaughn because he thought he'd throw it over his head because he was so pumped up. And then he settled down after that and pitched really well and gave them, 3 solid innings. I don't know if you can say he's clutch or he's good in big moments because he's a rookie for God's sakes at this point, but it almost feels that way a little bit.
It does. It does feel like that. And I never really looked when you were saying it. I was like, I don't know if I agree with you, but your explanation, I kind of like it. I'm a little worried about the highs and the lows. Like, how do you handle all these situations? How do you handle, when a team is going to take pitches from you? How do you handle when teams, because you saw partway through the season, like, guys were chirping him from the dugout from the other team, and he was chirping back at him, and you're like, oh, okay, like, like, we got to control this a little bit. So, to me, he showed so much in the Dansby Swanson at bat. Dansby, he was kind of erratic a little bit, and Dansby came up there, older hitter, veteran guy, it's been to the postseason and had success, and he goes and just absolutely just fills the zone up with 2 first pitch heaters, like 103, 102. And it was like, I know you're taking, or maybe he didn't know he was taking, but Swanson was definitely taking. Swanson is an aggressive hitter that would swing at those pitches, and he was taking. And it was like, oh, okay, I guess we do kind of have to swing. And it kind of changed the momentum of his outing, it felt like, because of the fact that I would have him, and I'm watching videos, I'm watching games of his throughout the year. I'd have him as a 4 before 3 guy. He's going to throw me 4 balls before he throws me 3 strikes. And he showed last night that wasn't the case. Even after he had 2 walks, he had smattered 2 walks in there, and it didn't compound on him, which was so huge to see.
No doubt about it. Time with Erik Kratz, Foul Territory TV. Him and AJ Brzezinski do a great job there. Make sure to check that out on FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin as well. Former Brewers catcher. Follow him on Twitter at Erik Kratz 31 on Twitter. Great follow there too. Jackson Churio was another one. And I was getting egg all over my face last night because I was on the radio yesterday talking about I don't want him to play in this game, coming off of a hamstring strain. You're already up 1-0 in this game. You won 14 in a row without Jackson Churio in August. You can get through a game or two to give that hamstring a chance to, get better. I didn't want it getting re-injured. Not only did they play him, they put him in the outfield on top of it and were rewarded. Were you surprised that they put Churio back out there?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're 21 years old. 21 years old. You can get in a car wreck and like 9 hours later, you're like, I feel good. I'm good to go. I think the injury was precautionary because you saw when he came back from the hamstring and he was in the outfield, he was clearly measured running after balls. I mean, I remember seeing a decently hit ball that landed on the warning track in left, and he kind of jogged after it. If you're okay as an organization putting him out there in that type of state, in that type of physical predicament, you would say, and you're like, hey, you know what? It's okay if you don't beat out this ground ball. It's okay if you don't catch every ball. Then I think as a player, you're like, okay, I can fight through this, and I can make sure I am 100% fine by still playing. I'm not hurting myself by still playing. They brought in Lockridge last night, which is huge. I think there's a chance they can use Lockridge late when Churio has good at bats, but there's no way. I take 80% of Jackson Churio over 100% of anybody else that they're going to throw out there right now. And that's not saying the other guys are bad players. It's saying what Jackson Churio, has done in his short life here on earth and his short postseason life. I think he's hitting like 570 in the postseason. I think he's like 15 at bats. He has 8 hits. Like, it's ridiculous. You have to try to put him out there, and taking a day off I just have I almost cringe when I'm like last year, Freddie Freeman took days off because his ankle was hurting so bad. For a veteran like that plays 162 games to take days off, it has to be bad. For Jackson Churio's hamstring to make him sit out, it has to be bad.
He is 9 for 17, 3 homers, 5 runs, 9 RBIs in his first 5 career playoff games. That is star-studded stuff right there.
That is good.
I got to know, how is my boy AJ Brzezinski doing? He comes on the show from time to time, too, being the former White Sox player, watching Andrew Vaughn do what Andrew Vaughn has done since the Brewers acquired him. It is one of the more remarkable stories I can remember in baseball, specifically for the Brewers in general, over the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, the Brewers, I can attest to this. They do a good job of finding, I would say, needles in a haystack, but
yeah,
an ugly guy out of a crowd of good-looking guys. They can find those, and they find a way to put success like kind of on the back burner, and they just let players be who they are. Andrew Vaughn, I think, as a first-round pick, he was definitely top 5. I forget if he was like 3 or 4, but I played with him right after he was drafted in 2019 with Team USA. And you could definitely tell the skill was there, but you could also tell that the low heart rate was there. Just hey, you know what? We'll see what happens kind of thing. And I think complacency can kind of be a negative word, but I think the White Sox just never really got the most out of what I saw in this guy, a guy with opposite field power, a guy with a ridiculous ability to put the bat to the ball. Normally you look at those guys and you're like, oh, it's like a little like slap guy, like Luis Arraez or somebody like that is just going to kind of run all over the park. He has a hit tool that I think is an elite hit tool. But with the White Sox, it almost looked like it was like, hey, we're good if you do good, and if you don't, like, it's totally fine. When he got brought over to the Brewers, it was like, to me, it looked like from the outside, they said, this is what you're really good at. But you know what? There's a little bit of sense of urgency that we need to see from you, because Rhys Hoskins is a really good player, and he's going to be coming back. And maybe that sense of urgency, and coupled with the fact that they let him be who he is, it developed this, like, it unleashed the beast. It almost looked like he was like, okay, well, if I can just go out and, you want me to do a little bit more? Okay, you expect more of me? And I think that's the culture that the Brewers have built, that they expect more of guys that have elite talent. And that's where I think the success for King Vaughn has come.
It's been amazing. One last question, Erik Kratz. How do you look at Game 3 coming up tomorrow with that pitching and matchup being Taillon versus Priester?
I mean, I think how can you bet against Priester? I can't bet against Priester. Like the game, we had him on the show the other day, and I was like, bro, do you make brownies for everybody before games? Like the team loves you. They win every time you're in there. And I mean, it's not taking anything away. He's pitching really well, but I think they get the job done in Wrigley. And my only fear is that there must be long lines getting into Wrigley, because last night I saw a lot of Cubs fans leaving early. They must have been going to Wrigley to get in line, because so I'm worried about the lines. I'm worried about Cubs fans having to leave the Brewers game so early. They were just walking across the bridge, and it was like, they were taking their L and their flag, and they're just driving down to Wrigley. There must be something going on at Wrigley that they had to get back to so soon last night.
That is Erik Kratz. He's awesome. Follow him on Twitter at ErikKratz31, former Brewers catcher. Of course, him and AJ Brzezinski do a great job along Scott Braun. Follow Territory TV. Make sure to check it out weekdays at noon. Thanks so much for coming on, Erik. I appreciate it, man. And hopefully this thing takes us to the World Series. It'd be fun.
Yes, sir, Sparky. I'll be there.
Can't wait. There he is, Erik Kratz, joining us earlier today on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Erik Kratz questioning the Cub fans leaving early, getting out of Dodge, want to go get in line maybe for Game 3 down at Wrigley. See, sometimes you get the Ron Darlings of the world who yesterday I was like, dude, just everybody chill on my darling. But again, he was right back at it again last night. Heartbreaking for the Cubs. I'm watching like, what? Man, he really is over the top of that Cubs team, boy. I tell you, he is. That's all right, man. Like, gotta do what you got to do. But there is definitely a one-sidedness to his call for a baseball.